Hey folks, before we start the episode, I want to make sure that you know about the big contest we have going on right now. After you listen to this episode, be sure to immediately head to DisneyCoastToCoast.com and click on Contest in order to enter for a chance to win a week-long Walt Disney World vacation, including park tickets and the dining plan. This awesome prize is being supplied by Academy Travel and Mickey Vacations. So just think, a free Walt Disney World vacation could be in your future. Now on with the show.
Do you dream of fairies and princesses? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePauli, and in today's House of Mouse headlines, Halloween has begun at the Disneyland Resort, and Hercules goes from zero to hero in New York City. That and so much more, so let's get to it.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
As you may remember in last week's House of Mouse headlines, there was a story about how the airport TSA was not allowing the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge detonator Coke bottles onto flights, whether they were empty or full, carried on, or checked in. Since then, the TSA has changed their stance on the Star Wars souvenir Coke bottles, making it easier for you to bring home these souvenirs from your visit to Batuu. Here's the official statement from the Transportation Security Administration. The issue concerning Star Wars Galaxy's Edge themed soda bottles has recently been brought to our attention by the general public, as these items could reasonably be seen by some as replica hand grenades. We appreciate the concerns being raised because replica explosives are not permitted in either carry-on or checked bags. We've completed our review and instructed our officers to treat these as an oversized liquid. Because these bottles contain liquids larger than 3.4 ounces, they should be put in checked baggage or emptied to be brought on as a carry-on item. TSA officers will maintain the discretion to prohibit any item through the screening checkpoint if they believe it poses a security threat. Oh, the power of the Walt Disney Company. Speaking of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, mobile order is now available for the new land in Disney's Hollywood Studios. You can use mobile order in the app at Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo, The Milk Stand, and Ronto Roasters. This is a great option for saving time when ordering food in the new land. If you want my opinion about the Galaxy's Edge food, stick with Ronto Roasters. This past week, the state of Florida was prepared for Hurricane Dorian, but they seemed to escape the weather for the most part as it headed toward North Carolina. Of course, our friends in the Bahamas weren't as lucky as Florida, as the hurricane caused considerable damage there. The Walt Disney Company has its Disney Cruise Line Castaway Key Island in the Bahamas, as well as the new island they're working on that was recently announced at the D23 Expo. To help with hurricane relief, the Walt Disney Company has donated $1 million to the Bahamas. The Walt Disney Company stands with the people of the Bahamas affected by Hurricane Dorian, said Bob Iger, chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company. We hope our $1 million donation will provide much-needed relief and help our neighbors, colleagues, and all those impacted by this devastating storm begin the long process of recovery as they work to put their lives and communities back together. Jeff Volley, president of Disney Cruise Line, went on to say, "The Bahamas is such a special place to us and our guests, and we have watched the devastation created by Hurricane Dorian with concern and heartache. We stand with the Bahamian people, and especially those in Abaco and Grand Bahama, as they recover from the worst storm to ever make landfall in the Bahamas. As the needs in these communities are assessed, we are prepared to aid the relief and recovery efforts through funding, the provision of supplies, and by providing support to our Bahamian crew members." Now let's head to Walt Disney World for a bit of happier news, where we recently got the dates for my favorite Epcot festival that I've admittedly never attended. The annual Epcot International Festival of the Arts at Walt Disney World Resort invites guests to immerse themselves in the visual, culinary, and performing arts in ways that only Disney can offer, including live concerts and art performances, workshops, art signings, and much more. It was recently announced that this popular festival will return to the park January 17th through February 24th of 2020. One highlight of the festival is the Disney on Broadway concert series, in which Disney on Broadway stars pair up to perform their favorite songs from award-winning productions at the American Gardens Theater. I'm happy to see that the Disney on Broadway concert series will again return to the park nightly during the festival, and if you remember a couple of episodes back, I had nothing but great things to say about the Disney on Broadway concert at the D23 Expo. Now let's fly over to the Disneyland Resort, where we have a couple of new treats headed to downtown Disney. Coming this holiday season is Asian Street Eats, a new concept from Earl Enterprises, the same restaurant group that brings us the fabulous Earl of Sandwich and other popular eateries. This trendy takeout window will serve a flavorful variety of Asian dishes and will be located on the west end of the downtown Disney district, the eatery's first location in Orange County. The main menu will feature mixed rice bowls, scallion pancake wraps, pot stickers, kids' meals, plus Japanese teas and sodas. Also in downtown Disney, Jamba Juice has fresh news of its own. Recently, Jamba Juice announced a more simplified name, simply Jamba, to better reflect its menu of smoothies, juices, and bowls catering to a broad spectrum of tastes. The name change is part of a larger modernization of its store design coming to the downtown Disney district. Jamba will close for renovations later this year to make way for the new look in early 2020, inspired by Jamba's California juice shop roots. Let's hope that we continue to get more additions to downtown Disney in 2020, as the West End still hasn't recovered from its closures due to the now defunct new hotel. And I'm not talking about new Instagram museums. This past Friday, Halloween time began at the Disneyland Resort, and with it comes the reopening of Haunted Mansion Holiday, where Jack Skellington and his friends from The Nightmare Before Christmas take over the Disneyland Classic. What you may not know about this annual transformation is that each year a different real gingerbread house is constructed for the ballroom table within the mansion. This year's Haunted Mansion Holiday Gingerbread House is themed to resemble the Deviously Delicious attraction. This monstrous dessert took 13 spooky days to bring to life. There are 6 talented culinary cast members from the Disneyland Resort Central Bakery team that have been working on this year's creation, 3 of which have been part of this tradition since 2001. And this year's gingerbread house that looks like the Haunted Mansion is adorned with decorations to help celebrate the attraction's 50th anniversary. Now let's fly to New York City, where Disney Theatrical has given their blessing for Public Works to present Hercules the Musical as part of Shakespeare in the Park in NYC's Central Park. Hercules has been the talk of the town and a hard ticket to get your hands on. This free show involves Public Works, which aims to involve all of New York City in the process of creating theater, especially for people who wouldn't otherwise have access to it. The company of Hercules features 8 Broadway actors and an ensemble of 200 people, ages 5 to 80, who take part in the Public's year-round series of workshops and potlucks, which culminates in this annual spectacular. Disney Talent has been working closely with this production, but there has been no official word about this show heading to Broadway, even though most of the reviews have been quite good. It seems like they're taking the same approach as they did with Newsies, where they created a production that they could license out to schools and regional theaters. But we all know what ended up happening with Newsies, so perhaps Hercules will have a future in New York City. At the very least, I'm hoping they make a cast album the way they did with Hunchback of Notre Dame, so that the new music will have an official recording. Now let's stay in New York City for a moment. Throughout the year D23, the official Disney fan club throws many events, but there's one happening in New York that piqued my interest. Join D23 in the Big Apple to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Muppets Take Manhattan for an exclusive screening. This celebration of the Jim Henson Classic will take place on Friday, October 4th, 2019 at the AMC Empire 25 Theaters in Midtown. This special event will include a voucher for popcorn and a soda, and a one-of-a-kind gift created exclusively for the D23 event. Tickets for D23 members are now on sale at d23.com. This has always been my favorite Muppet movie. Not only does it involve theater, which I love, but we also get our first look at Muppet babies in puppet form, and we even get a cameo from the one and only Liza Minnelli. That's Liza. With a Z, not Lisa with an S. I also want to quickly mention that this month Freeform is celebrating 30 Days of Disney on the TV network all September long. Each week of 30 Days of Disney will be themed to celebrate Disney villains, sing-alongs, pirates, and sheroes. So set your DVR and have yourself a Disney movie marathon night. Now let's get to this week's Twitter poll. On this past Wednesday's episode of Disney Coast to Coast, it was all about the 40th anniversary of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and my guest co-host Derek inspired this week's Twitter poll, where I asked you folks, do you prefer riding Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in the daytime or nighttime? Now in second place, last place, came daytime with only 23% of the votes, followed by nighttime with 77% of the votes. Do you agree with the results of this Twitter poll? Make your voice heard by following Disney CTC on Twitter and taking part in the Twitter poll every week. That's DIZNEY CTC on Twitter. Now, folks, if you've been enjoying the show for some time, make sure you head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star rating and review for Disney Coast to Coast. You taking a few minutes to do that really helps other Disney fans find the show more easily. And if you want a shout out on the show, be sure to leave that written review so that I can see your username. Now, if you're tired of just listening to podcasts and you want to start one of your very own, but you're not quite sure where to start, head to youcanpodcastnow.net for some free information. That's youcanpodcastnow.net. This episode of Disney Coast to Coast was produced by Philip Elke, who has supported the show through Patreon. If you'd like to become a DCTC producer or gain other rewards, including early access to episodes, live stream Q&As, behind-the-scenes access, and more, information can be found at patreon.com/DisneyCTC. That's patreon.com/DIZNEYCTC. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.